welcome to this week's devotions. We are continuing our series from last week, The Name Above All Names, and we'll be diving into more names of God that are found in Scripture. And the name that I want to touch on today is Jehovah Shammah, which means the Lord is there. The very first time that Jehovah Shammah is mentioned in Scripture is in the book of Ezekiel, and it's when Ezekiel, the prophet, is describing the vision that God had given him of the new city that he would rebuild and the new temple that he would rebuild. At this time, the Jews had been in captivity in Babylon for 25 years, and Jerusalem sat in ruins and the temple sat in ruins. But God had promised that he would restore his people, he would rebuild the city and rebuild the temple. And he said that he would call it Jehovah Shammah. The Lord is there. In Ezekiel 48 verse 35 it says, "And the name of the city from that day shall be, the Lord is there." I thought it was so amazing when I was reading through Ezekiel and seeing the vision that God had given Ezekiel and comparing it to Jesus in the New Testament in John 2, when he was driving out the money changers from the temple, and he said, "Do not turn my Father's house into a house of merchandise." And they asked him, "In what authority do you speak?" And in John 2, verse 19 to 21, Jesus said, "All right," Jesus replied, "destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." "What?" they exclaimed. "It has taken 46 years to build this temple, and you can rebuild it in 3 days?" But when Jesus said this temple, he meant his own body. I loved reading the similarities between Ezekiel and what is said here in John, because God had promised that he would rebuild the temple, and Jesus had said, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will rebuild it." And he was speaking about his body. He was speaking about us as his body, that he would rebuild us as a nation. And I want to encourage you today that we are his temple, and through what Jesus Christ has done, through his death, burial, and resurrection, we are living in the newness of his life. In 1 Corinthians 3 verse 16, it says, "Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you?" I was so reminded of Jehovah Shammah when God had promised that when he had rebuilt the city, it would be called Jehovah Shammah. The Lord is there. We get to declare that today in present tense, that the Lord is here with me, because I am his temple and he dwells in me. I want to tell you today that you are a powerhouse, that you carry the power of the Spirit of God that is with you always, that we have a present God. We have a God who is here with us right now, that we are living in the fulfillment of the promise that was spoken in Ezekiel, that he would be with us always, that he will never leave us nor forsake us. And we can declare, Jehovah Shammah, the Lord is here with me today. Always remember that you are highly favored and deeply